I think the bigger question is if you are Gavin Newsom right now,
Oh boy.
and we've talked about it on this show like plenty of times. Again, bringing it back to California, right? We do talk about California politics on here. That's usually what we talk about, but we couldn't ignore this story this week. Um, if you're Gavin Newsom and you saw the debate and you saw how bad Biden did, and then you see this attempted assassination attempt of Trump, and then you see his poll numbers surging in all the swing states, do you kind of go, yeah, I think I'll keep my powder dry for 2028? Like maybe it's not the best thing to run right now because it looks like it's going to be Trump. And I don't know how anybody gets into the race in August and wins the presidency that quickly. Like that would be a pretty monumental feat to jump in around August and win in 4 months and become president of the United States. So that's sort of where I'm at is like, I don't even know who'd want to jump. It'd probably be Kamala. Kamala would probably stand up and be like, oh, I'll run against Trump. I think she'll get slaughtered worse than Biden would, to be honest. I think her poll numbers are way worse against Trump.
California primary.
Yeah, I mean that's how bad she was. Like she didn't even win her own state, and like I saw polls this morning where she was down by like 11 or 12 points in like Pennsylvania against Trump. It's like there's no path forward for Kamala to win, but she might be the sacrificial lamb of like she gets to run against Trump as a presidential candidate, but they all know she's going to lose, and they're just going to have to eat it for 4 years until Newsom's ready to run in 2028.
Right.
So.
Sounds that's how they look at these things. They look multiple years down the road and figure out how to position and play the next chapter. And I think they've probably agreed this chapter's over. And
yeah.
On Gavin, he probably, a couple things that I noticed. Okay, one, he probably recognizes that this country is in a very bad state. Of course, he doesn't really care that his state is in a bad state. But whoever gets this next presidency they have to clean up a lot of mess that's happened in 4 years. And so I feel like even if Trump wins and he does a lot of things, like people are still going to have very negative reactions to him because there's so much, and can he really accomplish that much in 4 years? I'm sure he can accomplish a lot, but there's a whole lot. And I think Gavin wouldn't want that. I think he doesn't want his presidency to be like a possible look at like people being negative because in the first 4 years he didn't clean up, and undo everything that Biden has done. But then also, Phil, was it the last episode or 2 weeks before that we were talking about the recent bills that had passed, and we were saying Gavin didn't actually sign anything too crazy this time because of, his presidential sites. But then the following week, Biden was absolutely adamant that he was not stepping down. He's going to run. And then all of a sudden, and I know we're not discussing those bills tonight, but all of a sudden Gavin started signing a couple crazy things that were like, what are you doing?
Oh,
so, maybe once he saw that path close, he was like, I can sign these bills now.
He's like, okay, I get to kind of go back to focusing on being crazy in California because I'm not going to get this presidency for 2024. Like,
oh yeah,
he probably is like, okay, I got a couple years before I have to tone it down again.
Yeah, and I just want to pick up on like what Zach said is so important about like how parties look at this stuff. I know every election they say, this is the most
important
consequential election of our lifetime. Like literally the sky will fall.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they said about 2020. We're all still here, barely, getting by and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We're all hanging on, but America's still here. Like we haven't completely crumbled yet. But yeah, I think people have to realize political parties look at these things not in like a 1 year or a 2 year. They're looking at a lot of this over like 10 years or 15 years. Like they're looking at projections for 10 or 15 years of like, if we lose this term, okay, it's Trump's 4 years. He's done. He can't run again. Who do they have behind him? We like our bench better than their bench. Like we think they do, how many internal polls of like, well, how does Gavin Newsom stack up against JD Vance in Pennsylvania? How does Gavin Newsom stack up against Marco Rubio? Like, it's like they're doing these polls all the time. So they know, they have way more data than you or I have about like the future of these parties. So they're probably looking at it as like, if we throw the white flag on this year and just go, all right, Trump will get in, he'll do his 4 years, we'll all, say he's literally Hitler for 4 years, and then in 4 years we'll roll out 2 fresh new candidates. Like,
Yeah.
that's what's going to happen.
And
That's just
Newsom's
my thought.
young.
And
Like, he's
Newsom's
young
young.
enough.
He's not
4
going anywhere.
years.
So,
Nope.
there's a lot of young Democrats who are itching to probably run for president. Governor Whitmer, I'm sure, is itching to run for president. Newsom's itching to run for president. If Kamala loses, maybe she's itching to run for president again. And there's a lot of young Republicans who might be trying to take up Trump's mantle in 4 years and get Trump's blessing to run. So, it's interesting to see how politicians play this out, knowing that they might lose. Save your powder or keep your powder dry for the next 4 years and just be ready in 2028. Hey, thanks for checking out the California Underground Podcast. If you enjoyed that clip, make sure you subscribe, like, share, review, comment, all that stuff that helps with the algorithm, helps people find us more. And if you want to learn more, you can always listen to our full podcast at Apple, Spotify, Google, all those different places that you basically find podcasts. Or if you just want to keep watching clips, you can check out clips here, or you can subscribe to our channel right here, somewhere in here.